So we've got our draft picks, the free agents that we signed after the draft. Then there's a large number of 3-day tryout players that are rookies, and then the league allows 5 veteran tryout players. So that's what our numbers consist of. There's a handful of players that have been with us that are eligible that don't have an accrued season. Any questions?
What are you looking for from the veteran tryout guys?
Well, look, do we have a vision for them? What kind of shape are they in? You know, they've played, and so what do we think they can do to help us? We've got a handful of positions, but we've had players, you know, Billy Miller's a guy that, you know, found his way onto the roster that way. So it's really about how quickly are they getting up to speed. The same evaluation really that's taking place with the rest of the players.
So with the limited exposure, what do you gauge out of these days? Do you get somewhat of a grasp of guys' learning curves or anything like that?
Well, we tell them that, you know, look, these are the things that are important. You know, do they know what to do? That's important. And so they are in a crash course, if you will, on getting adjusted to the terminology. Then how quickly are they learning what to do, and then are they doing what we're trying to teach them? But it is the beginning part of the process, and with just 3 days, certainly if you're a tryout player, there's X amount of pressure to catch someone's eye, but every year we've seen it. And you know, we always kind of in the first meeting talk to them about, look, the procurement part of it is getting you here, and then at that point, how you got here is really unimportant to us. What's important to us now is what we see, and trying to be, you know, fair to the evaluation process.
What do you guys like about Jason Barrett?
Well, there's a leadership presence about him. He's a good athlete. He's played a lot of competitive football, and he's handled this camp very well. So a lot of the things that you look for in that position. He certainly was worthy of being drafted, and he's done a good job here.
What are some of the adjustments for, say, someone like Will Clapp as a center coming into the league? I mean, it's different from, say, guard.
I would say just the multitude of fronts and maybe the size. You know, the size of, and yet in this camp, you know, he's getting really an introduction to, everything from pointing out the mic to the, you know, the protections, how we call them. But I would say, though, you know, the responsibilities increase, I think, a little bit with this next level, and then the size of the players you see.
Sean, what are you looking for in a quarterback who's, you know, progressions, but what specifically are you looking for a quarterback out here?
You know, how accurate is he? I mean, you know, is he completing passes in time? Is he getting through his progressions? How quickly does he learn? Can he get to the huddle and call the play? Can he handle the cadence? You know, his ability to ingest, process, and then go ahead and take it to the field. That's all real important.
Why was the tight end Yelder, you know, such a key target for you guys?
Well, he's big and he can run. He's done pretty well here for the first 2 days. So, you know, his speed and some of his times were good. We think he catches the ball well, and we've got to work and get up to speed a little bit in the blocking.
So Zach Street out there, how much involvement is he going to have?
It's a good question. He didn't know he tiptoed around and stayed on the blacktop like he was one of you guys, and so we gave him an all-access pass for now. I think he likes being around it, and I think he likes helping. Even when he was playing, you know, regardless of what the position was, if it was a position of another right tackle, he would help. And so it's good to see him out here.
What about Wozniak? What made you want to, you know, see if you could work at an O-line after being playing tight end?
Well, he's got the length, he's got the stature. We didn't feel like he was a tight end prospect, and you know, it's nothing against the O-line, but that's kind of your last stop. But I do like his length, and I think he can develop. I think he can put on weight. I think he's got the athleticism. So we'll just keep working with him, getting him reps, and he's handled it well.
that a situation where you sort of watch his blocking tape, or did you work him out as an O-lineman?
It's kind of all of the above. You're watching a player, you're having trouble reading him at the position he's currently playing, and then you begin to think outside the box. And our league has shown historically we've got a number of guys that have played tight end that have gone to play offensive line.
Coach, obviously with Mark Ingram's situation, there's going to be some evaluation of the running backs from last year. Outside of Alvin Kamara, what did you like about Jonathan Williams?
Well, Jonathan Williams we scouted last year from Arkansas. That's one of the reasons why we went ahead and signed him to our active roster. We thought he had real good vision and balance. You know, and there'll be a handful of other guys that'll be competing for those touches, and certainly, you know, you miss something with a guy like Mark Ingram in those early weeks that you normally would get. But I think that, you know, for us, it's going to be evaluating that whole position and, you know, determining who can handle some of that role, because the mistake would be that Alvin gets 15 more carries, and that's not the direction we would expect to go. I don't think that is wise.
Was Boston Scott drafted primarily as a running back? I know a lot of
Yeah.
times late round picks
No,
are special teams.
he was as a running back. We'd worked him out. We saw his tape. We feel like he's someone that can handle, you know, the running game, and he'll be one we'll have a chance to look at. He'll also be one we look at as a punt returner and a specialist, but I would say as a runner first.
How's Davenport?
He's doing well. He's working on the right side. He's getting a lot of work on his stance. He played from a 2-point quite a bit a year ago, but he's doing well.
How much have you seen of Boston Scott this weekend? It didn't look like he was
Well,
participating.
he cramped up yesterday, and so he'll practice this afternoon. But he went the other day, you know, so he's doing well.
Was the Kobe Fleener decision something that was coming all off season? You guys just kind of had to wait for him to get cleared?
Well, I don't know that I would say that. I think, look, he's still working through the process of getting cleared, you know, and he's still working through being without symptom. And but I also felt like for the team it was something that that was going to be best for us.
How much maybe of a little gut punch was the suspension for Mark?
Look, it happens in our league, and you know we get the same notice just when he and his agent are getting a notice, and you deal with it. I mean, it's you know, it goes under PEDs, and yet, you know, I know Mark well enough to know, you know, it wasn't a performing enhancing drug. He'll better be able to explain the other parts of it, but it happened with Willie last year. So you know, you adjust like it would be an injury.
Is it all frustrating, you know, that he hasn't been participating?
No, listen, we spoke a couple times before the off-season program started, and you know, it is what it is. He'll know what to do. Now, do I think he should be here? Yeah, but it's optional, and you know, we'll see him at the minicamp.
Do you expect anything to change with his contract status? I assume that's a
No.
big part of it. Yeah.
No.
Sean, will y'all look to bring in a veteran running back?
Right now, no. I wouldn't say we're not. We're constantly looking at who's available, but I'm anxious to evaluate the guys that we have here and our numbers here right now.
Adrian Peterson told Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network that he would be open.
Absolutely. This gets back to the notion that we had some type of any argument at Minnesota, which I still say there was none. I think a ton of him, and you know, that would be the part where if all of a sudden, you know, we decided, hey, we're going to look at additional players that are on the street. You know, certainly his name. There'd be a few others. We have them on a board right now. You know, who's available, veteran running backs, and you know, stacked on a board, graded. But listen, he's a tough player, warrior, and a great worker, and we had a good relationship. So,
Do you plan to put Marcus Davenport in a 3-point stance, or you're going to experiment and see what works best?
oh, he'll play in a 3, and there'll be times where we stand him up, I'm sure. You know, the key is the leverage and the technique, but he's handling it well. He's long.
Coach, how much information is actually asked of the guys considering it's a 3-day period?
Quite a bit. We are mindful. Look, we want to see them know what to do, so we don't want to see a ton of mental mistakes. And so the installation might be a little different than the installation in the vet camp. It certainly would be. So you're trying to give them things that are basics in what you do, defensively and offensively, so that you have a chance to evaluate rather than I can't evaluate because he didn't know what to do, and now I'm still left with a, the key always, and I say this all the time, the concern we have all the time is that, 1 or 2 of these tryout guys end up somewhere else and doing well. So getting a good evaluation on the players that are here and trying to look at, hey, what do they do well? How are they moving? How are they picking things up? And so that you can arrive at a better decision.
How unique is the situation with Tyron Walker? I mean, obviously a guy you've had before.
Yeah.
Trying to find a spot.
Good. It's good to see him. He's versatile. He's a little heavier right now. He hadn't missed many crawfish boils, but he'll get a chance to drop some weight. He's smart.
Coach, the rookie receiver Traquan Smith.
Yeah.
What would you see from him?
He's long. He's athletic in and out of his cuts. Still needs to work on his lower body strength, but he's handled the install well. I think he's a quick study. He's big. He's doing a good job.